good to go here, so I am going to call the meeting of the legislature to order and ask that we have Legislator Bino lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then please remain standing for a moment of silence after that. Please remain standing. We have a moment of silence for George Floyd, as well as the dozen others, including ex-Captain David Dorn from the St. Louis Police Department, who lost their lives in the unrest the last 2 weeks. Thank you. I'm going to call the roll for the legislative meeting. Deputy Presiding Officer Coppell. Howard,
I'm here.
Okay.
I hear.
Legislator Ford. Here. Legislator Bino. Legislator Salage. You there, Carrier? We'll come back to him. Legislator Muley?
Here.
Legislator Gaylor?
Here.
Legislator Muscarella?
Here.
Legislator Birnbaum?
Here.
Legislator DeRiggi Whitten? Legislator James Kennedy?
Here.
Legislator McKevitt? Here. Legislator Schaefer? Here. Legislator Ferretti?
Here.
Legislator Drucker?
Here.
Legislator Walker? Here. Legislator Lafazan?
Here.
Legislator Rhodes? Minority Leader Abrahams?
Here.
Okay, I'm here. Legislator Salage, can you hear? Are you there? All right.
Yes, I am here. Yes.
Okay. All right. So all 19 of us are here and present for the meeting. We have an emergency agenda. Actually, before we do that, I'm going to note for the record that we have one email public comment from Mita J. Meriday. It's been provided to the clerk's office. It will be made a part of the record for the meeting today. So we have an emergency agenda of 2 items. We are going to need an emergency with respect to items 142 and 143, both of which are ordinances supplemental to the annual appropriation ordinance in connection with the Board of Elections. Motion to establish the emergency by Legislator Schaefer, seconded by Legislator Walker. All in favor of the emergency signify by saying aye. 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 Those opposed? It carries unanimously. I'm going to call the items 142 and 143 are both ordinances supplemental to the annual appropriation ordinance in connection with the Board of Elections, moved by Legislator Ford, seconded by Legislator DeRiggi Whitten. So that item's before us. Do we have a speaker on this?
Larry Nadelka from the Board of Elections. This is a reimbursable grant from the state of New York that they got from funding out of Washington, D.C. The share of the count to the county in the state was $1,996,434. It's to be used for COVID-related expenses. In other words, for the election coming up on June 23rd and the early voting preceding that, these dollars are to help us with out-of-the-ordinary expenses. For example, we had to do an absentee ballot mailing program to all eligible voters in an effort to try and get people the right to vote without necessarily subjecting them to going out in public. So it's expenses that we would not normally have had during an election that the state is reimbursing. But because it's reimbursable, we have to ask you to loan us the money until we can do it. Now, this grant has a short life, runs till about the middle of November, so the claims should be in fairly quickly, and the money will be back to the county within a couple of months.
Any questions?
So with the primary election coming up, and what the cost is, the $1.9 million, right? These costs has, with COVID-related, has nothing to do with PPE, because there will be no polling places open. Is that what you're saying?
No, we have early voting starting on Saturday, and we have a consolidated number of polling places because people have contacted the board that they do wish to vote in public. So these, for example, to have the polling places open, we're required by executive order and the State Board of Election Regulations to sanitize all of our polling places. That costs approximately $265,000 using the county vendor for sanitizing the buildings.
Okay.
The PPE that we're purchasing are basically masks and gloves. We're buying them for the poll workers who have to sit there during the day to sign people in. We use them for the staff that are taking in thousands and thousands of envelopes a day, and we don't have necessarily the massive equipment necessary to sanitize the envelopes, so we're doing everything we can. Now, some of the some of the disinfectant that we're getting for the poll sites, we're getting from the state through OEM. Some other materials that we're getting from the county. But we're talking, for example, on primary day, 30,000 pairs of gloves, and the county only gets so much from the state. And we have the money coming in from the state to cover COVID-related expenses such as this is, so we can buy our own gloves and masks and keep the masks that the county get for their first responders in the hospital and things like that, because it's a big load.
So this money also, will this also cover for the general election as well?
This money will cover all expenses for the general election, such as what's left over after the primary. So, for example, we bought, since we don't know how many people will show up to vote on primary day, we buy for what we estimate it could be. If we don't go through anywhere near the number of gloves or masks that are available for the primary, those will be locked away and used for November. So that helps.
What do you do with the extra money? Because when you say that, like, to sanitize the polling places, it would be, like, say, $400,000 to do the polling places, right? To sanitize them. And then if there's maybe 30,000 masks or even 100,000 masks, that might end up, like, bumping us. Like, say, if you're going to be generous, it would be $1 million. So you can very well have extra money after this. What do you do with the extra money? Do you give it back to New York State, or are you allowed to reallocate it to other expenses?
Let me put it to you this way. I can tell you unequivocally there won't be a single penny left of this money. Because the absentee ballot program alone is costing us close to $1.4 million between printing and postage.
So the actual absentee ballots, the whole program will be covered under this?
Correct.
Oh, okay, all right. I didn't
Because
realize that. Okay.
Even though we normally have an absentee ballot vote for a primary or general election, we have never been compelled to mail it out. But not only do we have to pay the postage to send it out, we have to pay the business reply for it to come back, because to force somebody to put a stamp on it could be construed, if they can't get to the post office to have a stamp, as disenfranchisement. They can't get their ballot in the mail. So we have to pay for all the ballot applications to go out, the applications that come back, and then the ballots themselves.
To go out, okay.
And we've taken measures to try and save money in the same process. Back at the beginning of the year, I worked with the Postal Service to get the Board of Elections nonprofit mailing status for certain things. So when we mailed out the absentee ballot applications, we saved $93,000 on postage. That $93,000 isn't like, hey, here's a pile of money, let's go have a good lunch. It's $93,000 to offset the business reply mail coming in. But I fixed it with the post office to get a different status on that, and instead of paying $1.40 for every envelope that comes back, we pay 80 cents.
Perfect.
So we're trying to squeeze 50 cents out of a nickel where we normally try to squeeze a quarter. And the fact that this money coming from the state helps us get our job done and helps the county where they don't see the hit on the operating budget. In the meantime, you just have to, give us the front money to take care of this.
Perfect. Thank you for the clarification. I really appreciate it.
I have one quick question to follow up. When you're mentioning the absentee ballots being mailed to all voters, I have heard of incidents in which the, homeowners are getting multiple mailings because there are people who lived in the house previously who are still on the rolls. Are you getting more than a usual response in terms of people saying you should do this to correct the voter rolls?
Well, I do the fiscal side, so I could get you the answer on the election side. There's always going to be that. We send out nearly 1 million mail check cards every year. You get them yourselves to tell you where you vote and that you're registered and give you information. The problem that we have, as any organization that would have a big mailing list would have, is if people don't tell us they don't live there anymore, we have no way of knowing to take them off the rolls. So you sell your house and you move and you go, thank God I'm now in Florida, but if you don't tell the Board of Elections, you're going to keep getting mail until somebody such as the new resident or whatever tells us to take them off.
Thank you. Any legislator Rhodes?
I was under the impression that if someone didn't cast a ballot within 5 years, they were automatically dropped from the rolls. Is that not the case?
I can get you clarification. What we don't do is we don't.
Other legislators are shaking their heads no, so,
Yes.
okay.
We don't purge the list. After a certain period of time, they go on what's called an inactive list. And if they, for example, you don't vote in 5 years, maybe you went away, the kid went away to college, comes back, and now he votes. He's still on the rolls as inactive, and when he goes to the polling place, he uses what's called an affidavit ballot. Fills out an envelope with his information, and it gets verified he's there, boom, he's reactivated.
I'm just a little concerned with mailing actual ballots out, especially when there's been no
Sure.
response from,
Right.
no response from an actual voter, only because I've gotten phone calls to the office. A gentleman called me actually over the weekend that he received ballots for the previous owner of the house that passed away in 2009.
Okay.
I wanted
so
to know what to do.
What the previous owner would have gotten would have been the mailing for the absentee ballot application. It would not have been the ballot. We are only sending ballots out to those people who are returning an application, and then we have bipartisan teams that actually stop to go through the computer, make sure that the people who are sending it in are eligible to vote in any one of the primaries that are being taken place. But we're just not carte blanche mailing out ballots to everybody. They have to apply for it under the temporary COVID reason, and then we mail out the ballot to them, and then they have the right to send it in or just change their mind and come and vote. And as you know, some people will send an absentee ballot in and then change their mind and come and vote, which overrides the paper ballot.
Great. Thanks for the answer. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Legislator DeVizio Whitten?
Hi, Larry. I'm
Hi.
very sorry for your losses also.
Oh, I appreciate that. I do. Thank you.
So I just had someone questioned, does this money, is it going to cover what you need to do with the partitions and all?
I'm sorry. I didn't.
Is this money going to be able to cover the partitions that we're going to need for the Board of Elections social distancing and all?
At the board?
Yes.
Well, I have to tell you that this county should be proud of the fact that they have one of the best DPW departments that are around. They have, under their own operating guidelines, they've been able to give us some of these partitions.
Okay.
We've purchased petitions for Election Day, so there's that extra, even with a mask, somebody could, the barrier is there to protect the voter and the election worker that much more than just a simple mask would do. But wherever we can get the material covered under other sources, that's been done.
Okay, so that's for the election day or primary day?
No, that's in our offices
That's in your
for every day.
office. Okay,
because
good.
they're all working in cubicles and everybody, they're doing the best of observing the social distancing. This is a added protection for them.
All right, that's
And
good.
at the polling place itself, we're using some plastic barriers, but those portable can be taken down, sanitized, and reused in other elections,
All right,
and that's coming out of the grant.
Good. All right, thank you.
Anyone else? All right, thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
All in favor of these items signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carries unanimously. Let's see, motion, actually, we're going to put the meeting in recess in the event that we do have to come back. Nothing is planned as of now, but our next meeting is in 3 weeks, so in the event that we have business to do before then, we'll have the meeting in recess. We will not have to call another meeting. So I am going to now call the Rules Committee to order. Vice Chairman Coppell,
Here.
Legislator Rhodes, Legislator Schaefer, Minority Leader Abrahams,
Here.
Legislator DeVizio Whitten, Legislator Bino, and I am here, so that makes a quorum. We'll start off with the regular items on the committee agenda. 116, an ordinance making certain determinations pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act and authorizing the county executive of the County of Nassau to accept on behalf of the county and offer a purchase from Nassau County Land Bank Corporation of certain premises located in Woodbury. Note for the record that Legislator Bino is recusing herself, left the room, will not be participating in any debate, discussion, or vote on this item. Moved by Legislator DeRizzi Whitten, seconded by Legislator Walker. You're not on the committee. Can't move. Legislator Schaefer could do it. So it's not items before the committee. Is there anyone to speak on this item? 116.
Yes, hello. Craig Pavel, Deputy County Attorney on behalf of the Office of Real Estate Services on the item Woodbury Road. This is a parcel of property in Woodbury. It's a parcel of property that has gone out for requests for proposals a few times, and we haven't had success selling it. And so the Office of Real Estate Services is proposing to give the land to the Nassau County Land Bank for purposes of affordable housing. I'm here for any other questions, and I believe also the director of the land bank is here to speak.
We have questions from the committee? Legislator DeRizzi Whitten.
Thank you. Is this going to be one house, or are you going to have multiple housings with this project?
I believe there's no house there currently. I believe that if that was your question, it's a wooded area, and that perhaps is part of why it's been difficult for us to release this parcel in the past. But the development, I believe, and the land bank can confirm, would be for one affordable house.
One house.
Good afternoon. My name is Brittany Russell. I'm the executive director of the Nassau County Land Bank, and our desire is actually to put multiple dwellings if possible. We have been working with an engineer, and we're hopeful that we'll be able to build several townhomes on that lot, because it's of a considerable size.
Okay, so several townhomes, that's what you're hoping for? It's just
Yes. Our desire is to do that to help with the tax burden, and also just to make the home even more affordable for individuals who will purchase it.
Is it zoned, is the property zoned for several townhouses?
It's zoned currently for residential. We would have to go to the BZA in order to get approval to build multi-family dwelling.
All right, thank you.
My question then is that my understanding is that there's a restriction from the Planning Commission's action that it be that it be one-family residence. So is it still possible to build townhouses or multiple residences on this property if we pass this?
I am not aware of that determination specifically. I am aware that it is a sloping property, and there are issues because of the slope on the property, and that it's specifically zoned right now for single family. However, the hope and the desire is to be able to build more homes if possible.
Okay, let's see. Anyone else? Moment, let's see. I think it's in the resolution, which somebody just texted me, but it's in the Board of Planning Commission resolution. Okay, which is right here, but I can't see it. It's freaking minuscule.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, sorry, can you repeat the question? I'm having difficulty hearing you.
It says in the whereas paragraphs of the Planning Commission determination that
Yes.
property was never sold, is now being proposed for transfer to the Nassau County Land Bank for the development of an affordable single-family residence. So is it your position that that doesn't restrict the county from go ahead and doing a townhouse of some kind?
I would, in order to answer your question, I would probably want to speak with somebody maybe at the Planning Commission, but you are correct that your observation in the contract is, as you say, the whereas paragraph. And I believe that the land bank is very well equipped. They're represented by attorneys and they have developers, and that their plans, I have full confidence, should be within the confines of the contract. I cannot at this moment specifically, without more information in front of me, fully grasp what the plans of the land bank are and whether they would be compliant with the terms.
Well, this is a committee hearing, and the full legislature would not be for 3 weeks. If the committee wants to, we could move this along and get the answers to that question between now and June 29th. If that's acceptable to everybody in the committee.
Presiding officer, can I ask a question, please?
Yes, let's Drucker.
Hi, good afternoon. Could you tell me exactly where on Woodbury Road this parcel is?
Yes. I'm just referring to the appraisal report. I believe it's north of the expressway. And let me just confirm that. It's 302 Woodbury Road in Oyster Bay.
Woodbury Road in Woodbury.
Yes, Woodbury.
And that's a wooded parcel? There's no buildings
sir.
on there?
Yes, sir. It is a wooded parcel with some sloping issues. It's got, I know from the appraisal report, it has some sort of ponds or streams going through it. It is an completely undeveloped, vacant land with woods on it.
And what is the appraised value?
The appraised value, sir, is, I believe it is $380,000 as per the Land Bank's appraisal report dated as of December 5, 2019.
And how big is the parcel?
The parcel is 100, I believe it is about 100, yes, it is 138 feet by 129 feet. However, it is an irregular shape, and therefore the exact square footage I'm not positive of, but the appraisal report indicates 17,424 square feet.
Right. And then I have a question regarding the land bank. How many units did you say of affordable housing you built there?
We don't have a specific number of units right now. We are working with the engineer to see what we can fit pursuant to the town code that would allow us there. However, the build that we have been doing now, we were doing single family homes on a 4,000 square foot lot. Yes, in the village of Hempstead.
Do you have an idea, Ms. Russell, about how much the rent would range from for 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, or whatever the configuration is going to be?
There wouldn't be rent. Our desire is for home ownership.
Or home ownership? Okay.
Yeah, so it will be sold at either 80% AMI or less.
So do you have a price range on that, what that would be?
It's somewhere around $320,000.
How do they arrive at that number?
It's based on the area median income and based on the HUD regulations. And that's about around the pricing that we've been determining our other homes for. The homes are about 1,500 square feet, 3 bedroom, 1.5 bathroom, with full basements. And so we've arrived at that number based on the HUD regulations.
So would there be a big variation or disparity if a lot was in another area of Nassau County?
The AMI is determined, I believe, based on the county, the area median income of the county.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Presiding Officer, for allowing me to ask him the question.
Anytime, Arnold. Any other questions? Yeah, I think the intention is to get some clarification on what can and cannot be done on the property between now and June 29th. All right. Any, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carries unanimously. 120, 2020 is an ordinance supplemental to the annual appropriation ordinance in connection with the medical examiner. Moved by Legislator Rhodes, seconded by Legislator Schaefer. Actually, we have to invite Legislator Bynum back in. Any debate or discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carries unanimously. 123, a resolution authorizing the county executive to execute a grant agreement between the county and the Women's Opportunity Rehabilitation Center, Inc., moved by Legislator DeReggie Whitten, seconded by Legislator Bino. Any debate or discussion on this item? Again, hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carries unanimously. 124, 125, 126 are resolutions to authorize the transfer of appropriations heretofore made within the budget for the year 2020. Moved by Deputy Presiding Officer Copel, seconded by Minority Leader Abrahams. Any debate or discussion on these three? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carries unanimously. 127, 128, 129, 130, 131. Ordinances supplemental to the annual appropriation ordinance in connection with the Department of Health and the Department of Social Services. Moved by Minority Leader Abrahams, seconded by Deputy Presiding Officer Copel. Any debate or discussion on these items? Again, hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carries unanimously. 132 is an ordinance supplemental to the annual appropriation ordinance in connection with the Office of Management and Budget. Moved by Legislator Schaefer, seconded by Legislator Rhodes. All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, any debate or discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carries unanimously. Item 133 of 2020 is an ordinance to adopt the Nassau County budget for Nassau Community College for the fiscal year commencing September 1st, 2020 and ending August 31st, 2021, and to appropriate revenues and the total amount of monies to be raised by taxation within the county for the purposes of the Nassau Community College for such fiscal year. Moved by Legislator Bino, seconded by Legislator DeReggie Whitten. I would just note for the record that traditionally with the college budget, we tee up the budget in the committees and then have a full discussion and presentation at the time of the full legislature. I would also note, however, that there's been an ongoing issue with the college in terms of two programs for students on the autism spectrum. Those programs, the Aspires program and the Achilles program, had been slated to be terminated, and the college has now indicated to us that those programs will in fact be restored and continued. Some of the details of that have yet to be worked out, and some communication needs to happen, but we are optimistic that we can reach an agreement and go forward with the budget and maintain those two programs. Anyone else want to discuss or debate this? Okay, hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carries unanimously. 134, 2020 is an ordinance supplemental to the annual appropriation ordinance in connection with the Department of Public Works. Moved by Legislator DeReggie Whitten, seconded by Legislator Bino. Any debate or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carries unanimously. 136, a resolution to ceremonially designate a portion of the county road known as Old Country Road from the intersection of Calder Lane to the intersection of Central Park Road in Plainview as Heroes Way, and directing the Department of Public Works to install conspicuous signage along said roadway. Moved by Legislator Rhodes, seconded by Legislator Schaefer. Any debate or discussion? Anyone want to chime in? If not, All in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? Carries unanimously. 137 is a resolution to designate a portion of the county road known as Underhill Boulevard between Jackson Avenue and Queen Street in Syosset as Gus Scutari Way, and designating the Department of Public Works to install conspicuous signage along said roadway. Moved by legislator DeRiggi Whitten, seconded by legislator Schaefer. Any debate or discussion on this item? Okay. Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? Carries unanimously. 140 of 2020 is a resolution authorizing the county of Nassau to file an application for federal assistance with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Moved by legislator Rhodes, seconded by legislator Bino. Any debate or discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carries unanimously. 141, 142, and 143 are all ordinances supplemental to the annual appropriation ordinance in connection with the Correctional Center and the Board of Elections. Actually, I'm going to rephrase that. We already passed the 142 and 143, so this is simply an ordinance supplemental to the annual appropriation in connection with the Correctional Center. Moved by legislator Schaefer, seconded by Minority Leader Abrahams. Any debate or discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carries unanimously. Okay, now we have one other item which we'll consider in a little bit. It's on the addendum, but for now we're going to go through the contracts. We have, I'm going to call them all at once and we'll hear them individually. Okay, A11, a resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Shared Services to award and execute a purchase order between the county and Hendrickson Fire and Rescue. A27, A31, a resolution ratifying the Commissioner of Shared Services award and execute of a purchase order between the county and Acute Care Gases, second, Pulsar Echo Products. B8, a resolution authorizing the county executive to award and execute a contract between the county and Wellsback Electric Corp. E70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 81. These are resolutions authorizing the county executive to execute personal services agreement or amendments to personal service agreements between the county and Access Systems, Delphi University Institute of Parenting, Hispanic Counseling Center, Mercy First, Lyro, Ken McGuire and Associates, and Avenue Enterprise Solutions. Lastly, E78 is a resolution making certain determinations pursuant to SECRA and authorizing the county executive to execute a permit agreement between the county and Historic Hudson Valley. So just for the record, E81 is also included, involves a personal services agreement, and it's with Cornell Ruffian Equine Specialists. All right. Moved by Deputy Presiding Officer Coppell, seconded by Minority Leader Abrahams. So now we'll consider each of the items. First two are with the Police Department. They are A11 and A81. Anyone there from the Police Department?
Good afternoon, Deputy Inspector William Pierce of the Personnel and Accounting Bureau. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm here. So the first item is item A11 2020. That is for the Hendrickson Fire Rescue Equipment. It's a sole authorized, sole source agreement with Halamatro Sales and Service. They are providing us with a dealer service technicians who have to maintain certification on their items for maintenance purposes and warranty purposes. Hendrickson was the actual the dealer, will be able to provide us with the dealer service technicians. Our emergency services is currently operating Halamatro brand equipment. New tools will also be compatible with our current system. In case there's ever a need that we need to have interchangeable tools if a tool breaks or something at an operation of an auto accident or something similar. And it is, in total, it's grant federally funded $172,000.
Deputy Inspector, could you just give your name for the record again? I don't think our...
William Field.
Okay. Any debate or discussion on this contract? Okay, let's go to the second one.
Okay, the second item is item E81-20. This is a contract between the police department and Cornell Ruffey Equine Specialists. They will be providing us with veterinarian services for our police service horses. These services include diagnostic exams, emergency medical care, emergency surgery, and all required vaccines and medications. It is a term of contract for a 5-year contract. An RFP was issued in October of 2018. Cornell Ruffian was selected as one of the 2 top scoring proposers. The committee consisted of the police department's mounted unit, as well as a member from our police department legal bureau. It is a total max value contract of $60,000.
Okay, this contract seems to be somewhat late. The term is for January 1st, 2019. Is there a reason why?
Yes. Yes, there was 2 separate things came up. The first was the vendor